Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm giving you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. AEW last night got 598,000 viewers. Keep that in mind. 598,000 viewers. Now, you may be saying to yourself, holy shit, that's horrible. That's horrible. That's what an average person would say, right? Most people will look at that number and they will say that's horrible. You go back in the past and you see all the other previous numbers. I just want to remind you guys once again, around this time previously, they were around 800,000, which was already bad enough considering that the year prior to that, they were around the 900,000 mark. But again, last year, this time frame, 800,000. That's what they were typically getting within those brackets. They're now nearly 300,000 viewers lower compared to where they were the previous year. So why are AEW fans celebrating so hard right now? All the mistakes made last night, the terrible show as a whole, constantly burying your world championship in order to put over the secondary championship, which we in ourselves try to question whether or not it's a secondary championship because you have so many mid-card titles in that position that you can't tell sometimes whether or not it's in that secondary position, especially when you have the TNT championship floating around and a guy who you're paying millions of dollars that no one knows about who's carrying the Continental Championship, so you don't know what is in as far as a priority. You get what I'm going with this, right? Why are everybody celebrating this number? Well, because apparently last week they got 563,000 views. Yeah, they're celebrating the fact that they went up 25,000 views. While, by the way, still being within the bracket of 500,000. Now, typically I will look at this and I would just say to myself, delusional fans. It's AEW. That kind of comes with the territory. They can't help but be delusional. They can't help but be out of their fucking mind. It doesn't matter. They don't care about the company in the end of the day. Anything that seems to be on the upward trajectory, no matter how low it is compared to the previous sector, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Typically, I ignore this. But then I seen this tweet from Tony Khan, and it just perfectly illustrates the mind frame as far as where he's at right now. Tony Khan puts out a tweet. He says, I thought last night was an excellent Wednesday night Dynamite. Now, that's not the bad part. That right there is already delusional, just like his dumbass fans. He says this part. This is the part that really caught my attention. I believe AEW is on a streak of tremendous shows currently. Let me say that all together now. I thought last night was an excellent Wednesday night Dynamite. Plus, I believe AEW is on a streak of tremendous shows currently. How do you get through somebody's head like that? How? Like, it's one thing to be the boss and have to put out a positive energy in regards to your show. But then there comes a point where you're now just being negligent, right? You can easily just promote Collision. You can easily talk about how hot of a show is going to be next week. Stereotypical promoter things, right? But to outwardly put out a position such as I believe AEW is on a streak of tremendous shows, never mind how decreasing of an audience you have currently at the moment when you look outwards, right? Never mind the decreasing viewership number. Once again, last year, they were around 800,000 views. That was the bracket this time last year, 800,000 views. They've dropped nearly 300,000 views as far as their regular viewership number. 300,000. How do you... I don't know if there's any way to save AEW. I'll just come right out and say it. There's no way to save this company from itself. And it's like, for all the people who are out there and they constantly talk about how AEW currently is in a position right now where all it can do is go up from here. That wasn't the same talking point they had a couple of years ago. The talking point last year, a couple of years ago was there's a good shot that it's going to compete with Raw. Hell, there were even some delusional people out there who actually thought to themselves that Tony Khan has a fair chance to put WWE out of business. I know, fucking insane when you think about it now, but it was pretty fucking insane at the time too. Because WWE at that time, they were starting to fall. As a matter of fact, right now, WWE is at its lowest point that it's ever been. You know, people who are frustrated as far as, I heard the news, the people who are frustrated as far as how lacking SmackDown has been since it went to 3 hours backstage. You have a low morale currently right now, right? And it's very evident how bad the product is currently, specifically the main roster stuff, and more in particular SmackDown. Talked about this in the last video. You have them by the throat. You can do whatever you want to do right now to capitalize on this, because WWE right now, even going into WrestleMania, is at its lowest point, right? Creatively speaking. And somehow you still fuck up. Somehow you still can't capitalize on it. You can't even compete with NXT right now. And please, again, miss me with the nonsense that they currently are on CW right now. They are literally still around the same viewership numbers that they were doing when they were on USA for the most part. It ain't gone up that high. We're talking about 50 to 100,000 views. That's not a lot. And typically speaking, sometimes NXT tend to get around the 700,000 number pretty consistently, even when on USA. It's not a drastic upward trajectory. The thing is, AEW, they never really went up. They pretty much stayed the same. It's NXT that went down. That's the difference. AEW, they went down. NXT, they haven't gone up, but they haven't gone down either. They've stayed exactly the same. Maybe a little bit up, but nothing that's drastic that has to be talked about consistently. When was the last time NXT hit 1 million viewers? When was the last time they consistently stayed in the 800 and 900,000 range? No. They typically stay around the 700,000 range. The same numbers that they were doing pretty typically when they were on USA. Whereas you have AEW, they're okay with mediocrity. I just can't believe that Tony Khan actually went out of his way to say that. I believe AEW is on a streak of tremendous shows currently. I mean, the embarrassing spots that you see on the television, like last night with Danielson, blading on camera. The stuff that you see 2 weeks ago with Thunder Rosa and Megan Bayne. The people who are being released. You have Ricky Starks going on NXT competing. You have fans saying that Tony fumbled. Just really, really, really embarrassing shit. And to turn around and say that you're on a streak of tremendous shows, it's wild. It is wild. Can we see some of the comments that are currently going on right now underneath this thread? Look at this. AEW blog. Look at all these dick riders, bro. Great show. Can't wait for Collision. And soon, in the blink of an eye, Revolution. Fire. I'll be watching, Tony Khan. I'm off from work this weekend. Smashing it, Tony Khan. 100. F the haters. This is the main. Great main event. Yeah, great main event. Mind you, the main event was Takeshita versus Orange Cassidy for the International Championship. Where's their World Heavyweight Champion? Oh, they had one segment previously before all this, smacked somewhere towards the middle end of the show, where Jon Moxley's whole Dick Rider stable was demolished by Edge by himself. Mind you, one segment towards the end of the night. That's the World Heavyweight Championship, by the way, because they're so busy focusing on the second, third, fourth priority belt inside the entire company. Which, by the way, the champion essentially is wrestling a number one contender shot. Because the prize is who gets to fight Kenny Omega at Revolution for the International Championship. But the International Champion is in the match fighting to see who can go up against Kenny Omega. Great main event though, man. Great main event. Like, it's wild when you see some of these comments. Look at all these comments. It's just people who are enabling. They're stuck in their bubble. And it's like, I don't know if it has more to do with the fact that, again, they just want to be positive, which is fine. But the fact that they're just gassing this man up to believe the shit that he's believing. That's the part that I don't understand. That's the part that kills me the most. You really have this man out here thinking that he's putting on a streak of tremendous shows. Never mind that he's actively being mocked in the wrestling community outside of his bubble. Never mind the fact that you can actively see the analytics and the metrics combat his stance as far as what he believes to be a credible show currently going on at the moment. If these aren't evident enough to let you know the mind frame of AEW right now, if this isn't enough to let you know that Tony Khan has no prerogative at all to want to continue going forward and actually put it on compelling television because he thinks what he's currently doing at the moment is the right thing, I don't know what is there to tell you. This is his mind frame. This is what he's actively telling everybody, that there's nothing going wrong with AEW, that he's been putting on a streak of tremendous shows. This is his mind frame. You know, I heard earlier, and I don't know if I talked about this, maybe in this video, I can't remember, but there were a lot of fans, and mind you, I don't care, but Jamie Hayter, right? A person, for the most part, who was pretty much killing it within the women's division, was starting to get some traction. Where is she? Where is Jamie Hayter right now? Huh? How's Camille doing currently at the moment? You know, I just heard Sasha Banks last night, right? Mercedes, she was going around talking about uplifting women, right? Mrs. 4 championship belts. Where are Camille and where's Jamie Hayter? Oh, okay. How's that tag team division of yours, huh? All the promising stars, huh? Whatever happened to what's the name? Pride and Powerful. Whatever happened to them, huh? Is that their names? Pride and Powerful. What about Penta and Rey Fenix? Where are they? Where are they? You know, the Young Bucks, they could be doing something on the product right now. They've been gone for a while now. Where are the Young Bucks? I mean, goddamn, it's your company. I mean, there's no way you guys are part-timers in a fucking company like AEW. You don't deserve to have part-time. Why should you have part-time? Why should you have a Roman Reigns schedule while not pulling in Roman Reigns numbers? Okay. You know, you had to essentially beg Kenny Omega to come back to your company. Which, by the way, Kenny Omega, what was he doing before he came to your company? Ah, that's right. He was busy wrestling in Japan where he's comfortable at. I ask this again. Which one of the mid-card championship belts is the priority currently at the moment? Is it the Continental Championship being worn by the Millionaire? Is it the TNT champion who's busy chasing after other champions at the moment? Or is it the International champion who's facing other people in the number one contender shot for his championship belt, even though he's the champion? Ah, okay. Question. Your World Heavyweight Champion. When was the last time they main evented? Better yet, when was the last time they were relevant? And also, who's wrestling for the World Heavyweight Championship currently at the moment? I think it's Jon Moxley, one half of arguably the biggest stable in the last 15 years. And I think the other one is a Hall of Famer. Oh. Okay. I'm just asking all these questions because I'm trying to understand the priorities of AEW currently at the moment. I'm trying to understand where are you coming from at the moment to actually believe that you have a streak of tremendous... Silly me, that's right. Dave Meltzer told you you've been having a string of good shows because he's currently giving every fucking match that your participants, as far as your wrestlers, are wrestling in right now, 5 stars. To the degree that, and I shit you not, he actually said this, his star system is now considered infinite. Not my words, his words. His star system is now considered infinite. Kurt Angle can never get 5 stars, but literally half of the fucking roster in AEW are given 5 stars because they don't really matter anymore. And apparently because now that they're infinite and they're getting over 6 and 7 stars in the company currently at the moment, some of their matches considered some of the greatest professional wrestling in the history of the business. Every single fucking week you hear something like that. Meaning that literally the standards don't even matter anymore. Because that's the reception that he gets. Tony Khan actually believes that the matches in themselves that dictates the entire show. Meaning he thinks he's on the streak. This is the mind frame of a man that we're fucking with right now. You have SmackDown right now being one of the worst television shows currently on the market. And here you have Tony Khan with Dynamite that's not too far behind there. Probably on par at this point, if you ask me. Thinking that his flagship show that are doing terrible numbers at the moment, he thinks there's nothing wrong. He thinks that what's going on currently in the product is all good. And then you have his fans right here saying that everybody who's outside of the AEW bubble are a bunch of haters. What do we do with this? How do you go forward like this? Like, I'm asking you guys, like, serious question, legitimate serious question. Is it time to now give up on AEW? Like, I'm dead serious this time. Like, I'm legitimately serious. Like, I can still cover AEW as far as the news is considered, but I'm starting to think, and I'm starting to ask myself, the only reason why I even do Dynamite reviews anymore is because of my work schedule. Like, Wednesdays are typically my days off. And Wednesdays, for the most part, is like the only day that I can actually have where I can actually get some wrestling reviews in. I want reviews on the channel. I would absolutely love to review Raw and NXT more consistently, but I can't. My work schedule prevents me from doing so. Those are my two busiest work days. That's why you barely ever get anything out of me on Mondays and Tuesdays, if any uploads at all. Sometimes I might go 2 or 3 days before I upload anything after Sunday because it's that busy. I can't review anything on Raw or NXT, especially Tuesdays. I can't. And then on Fridays, like this week, for an example, I have to swap days sometimes because that Saturday typically is the PLEs. I have to review the PLEs. Those are some of the most important reviews on the channel. So all I can really review is AEW Dynamite. You think I want to review Dynamite? I don't give a fuck about Dynamite. I don't care. These shows are fucking abysmal. But they're the only things that I can legitimately know for a fact that I can get a review in that week, just so I can say that I'm reviewing something wrestling related outside of just covering the news. But man, the shows are so terrible, and it just seems like Tony Khan doesn't give a shit anymore. He's not even going to attempt. He's not even going to recognize the actual criticisms because he's that locked inside of his bubble. And it's like, damn, is there something that I can replace on Wednesdays, man? I just want to get more reviews in that are more up to date with the audience. I'm not talking about retro reviews or anything like that. Like something that's more relevant and contemporary with some of the younger fans who are still in the audience, because those are the people who are going to be carrying the channel going forward. That's the conundrum that I'm in right now when it comes to the AEW. I don't want to review Dynamite anymore. This show sucks. AEW fucking sucks. But it's feasibly the only reviews I can get on the channel. But then on the other hand, you have Tony Khan saying that he believes that AEW is on a fucking streak, when he doesn't recognize the streak is the complete opposite. You're on the streak of having some of the worst shows you've ever produced. But he actually thinks it's a good product. And he's the Vince McMahon of that company. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And actually, I can't even call him the Vince. I guess technically speaking, Chad Khan will be the Vince. I guess Tony would be more of the Triple H, right? Or the Nick Khan, or some combination of the two. What can you do with that, man? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. That was just so depressing reading. To look at the numbers and look at the metrics and see how everybody's talking about the product when literally it's like that meme with the dog sitting in the middle of the living room and then there's fire surrounding him and he's like, everything is fine, everything is okay, everything is good. You know, or you have the fucking CNN guy or MSNBC or whatever's leftist network out there talking to the people with there's fire in the background going, oh, they're mostly peaceful protests and there's like buildings collapsing and on fire and shit. Like, that's AEW in the nutshell. That's AEW in the nutshell. Even TNA fans back in the days recognized the company was in trouble around 2013. Even they at least recognized it. It took them a while, but they recognized it. And unfortunately, the product started to get good when it was too late. AEW, looks like the product is going to be terrible all the way down. All the way to its fucking grave. What a fucking shame. So much for a second wrestling promotion, right? Here's to crossing your fingers and just hoping that WWE recognizes that their product ain't that much better and they changing their own, I guess, because AEW, they think that they're still the shit currently. What a fucking shame. As always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you guys later. Deuces, P. Ice.